Coming up, we go into the inbox for the final time in 2024.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Sean Priest.
Hello. Welcome to Double Tap as we head towards the holidays.
Hey! Happy holiday seasons to everyone. Are you festive, Stephen Scott?
Well, do you know, not really. If you're watching this on YouTube, you might think, wow, this is the most depressing looking studio I've ever seen. And you'd be absolutely right, because there's nothing really festive going on here. There's no festive garb. I'm saving my Christmas jumper for later in the week, because we are going to have a Double Tap Christmas party right here.
Ain't no party like a Double Tap party.
Yeah, I mean, apparently. You can tell, right? So we're going to get into that later in the week. We'll tell you more about that a bit later. But we're going to kick off with, I thought today, instead of just doing the narrative thing that we've done on the show before, where we get all the emails in an order and we say, okay, so this person's talking about this, we'll follow up with their message. I think we're just going to lucky dip the whole thing.
We are, yes, of course. You keep sending in your amazing messages. Keep that up, by the way. Thank you so much. We should say that more, but thank you so much for all your messages. Yeah. You do an amazing job. But because of that, we've still got loads, so we're just going to try and plow through as many as we can and just lucky dip it.
Yeah, that's right. Someone might say, like, because it's a festive period, this kind of time of year, you might think, well, let's maybe Christmas theme emails. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Like have some kind of theme to go with it. And I thought, you might remember back to last year.
If only we had one.
Yeah, if I had like a festive way of bringing in the emails. Remember last year we did the Double Tap gift guide, and we did the special episodes around that. Very good episodes, by the way, all still very relevant. We should surface those, actually. There you go. We could have done that.
More work.
We could have stayed at home. But here's the thing. We had a wonderful theme that went along with that. And I think it ties in well with this. This is it. And this is our introduction. Oh, here we go. This is good. Sing along now. What's in that bag, Santa? Come on, Sean. Is it something special for me?
For me?
Is it a doll?
No!
Or is it a ball?
No!
Or is it something
for us all?
Oh, what do you have, Santa?
You're not in the mood for this at all, are you? I can just tell you're not in the festive spirit for this at all.
I was enjoying that. I'm just waiting for my bit. Just wait.
Oh, I see.
Turn it back up.
Oh, all right, okay.
Is it something for Christmas for me?
Yeehaw!
Is it something
Thank you. That's enough.
you dreamed of?
No, I'm done now.
In your workshop way up north.
No, stop.
Oh, I just can't
Right, that's
wait
enough.
to
Where's your bit?
That was it. I did it.
Christmas has in store for
Yeehaw! Again.
What's in
All right, please stop.
bag, Santa?
Oh, no.
Is it something up
Your
your
sleeve.
There you go.
Oh, what's in that bag, Santa?
Wow. You can tell Mr. F's on holiday. Okay, well, there we go. That's enough of that.
Thanks.
Because that is our introduction to our emails today.
Which, by the way, our emails may not have anything to do with Christmas.
No, that's
because,
right.
again, this is a lucky dip.
It is a lucky dip, and this lucky dip bag has got a lot in it. So we're going to dive right in. Okay, shall we pick one? We'll just randomly pick one, Sean?
Yes, start the computer to pick one at random.
Okay, here we go. Well, now we're better in rehearsal, but okay, let's go with this. Our first email.
Weirdest sounding computer I've ever heard. Okay.
Our first email is from Camille.
A couple of years ago, I purchased a Sensi smart thermostat to replace the manual and ancient one I had. I had a sighted friend remove the old and install a new one. It was super easy, and there was no need for rewiring the boiler or whatever you call that thing that gives us heat. We call it a furnace, by the way, and it is located in our basement.
Furnace. Oh.
Are there basements in the UK? Lol.
No.
You have to love the English language. You Brits invented it and we changed it on you for whatever reasons. I control the smart thermostat from the Sensi app on my iPad, which as far as I can tell is totally accessible using VoiceOver. Happy tapping, and thanks again to Laura for the wonderful job she is doing reading our emails. Camille.
Ah, yes, we must remember wonderful Laura. Absolutely.
God bless you, Laura. An amazing job.
Now, this message from Camille ties into our conversation we had about you and your thermostat. You've been having some issues. Well, some particular issues with it.
Was I? I can't remember. It seems so long ago.
Remember, you wanted to get like a timer going or something. You wanted it to
that's
set
right.
a
Yes.
time or whatever
Just
it was.
give me a chance. I'm getting to it.
Sorry,
it
no,
up.
please do take your time, please. We have the whole hour. We can just spend on this one question if you want.
Stop it. I have the Google Nest thermostat. It's very good. Totally inaccessible in itself. It's a dial with a screen. Totally inaccessible, except the app is accessible, and of course, the way that I control it is by using the smart speaker. So it works really well. The problem I was having was trying to get it to turn on when the house reached a certain temperature and then turn off when it reached another temperature. Should be easy. I couldn't do it. Couldn't figure it out, and never actually did. I also tried creating a routine in Amazon the Echo smart speaker. Tried creating a routine because my smart speaker has a thermostat thing in it. A thermometer. A heat sensor. I don't know. Temperature sensor. And it says
you're right. That's right, Camille. We invented the language, but we've got absolutely no idea how to use it.
Stop it now. You can trigger a routine when it reaches a certain temperature. But the problem I found was that doesn't work. It has never worked, apparently, for years and years. That doesn't work. So, yes. But I got to say, I've got the thermostat working well now. Still can't get it to do quite that, except it just using the smart speaker and just saying turn the heating on, turn it off, setting a routine to schedule to turn that on or off works really well. But the actual thermostat itself isn't accessible.
Okay, I'm so bored by that. So moving on.
Well, we're talking about thermostats.
I know. Well done. You
Camille's
said
got
it.
the
I don't
sensey
care.
sense.
This is your problem. It's not my problem.
Which one have you got, Stephen Scott?
I have the Nest. Hang on, no, I don't. I've got the Hive thermostat. Guess how bored I was. I forgot.
Is
what
that any more
thermostat
accessible?
I had. No, it's the same thing. All of these, I think, are the same. I don't think there's many of them, unless you get the really, that classic one that's just literally the knob on the wall. You just turn it to whatever heat you want. That's
Again, dials are the answer to inaccessibility.
Simplest option sometimes, but those aren't as easily controlled by the apps. So if you want the scheduling, you really want the smart.
If you want to lie in bed and turn your heating on, then these are beautiful.
And once you get it set up with Lady A, I mean, so
yeah,
good.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, thank you for that, Camille. Appreciate it. Best of the holidays to you. Let's get another one on. Come on. Who we got here? We got Daisy.
Hey there, Double Tappers, as well as to Stephen and Sean.
Oh.
I just finished listening to your episode on the Lady A interview with the host over at the Echo Tips podcast. Some thoughts I had is, are there any chance in the near future, since, as Stephen said, besides the new AI stuff coming to the Google Nest mini speakers, could there be more permissions as to something like the Echo Show to play a specific YouTube video or playlist by your voice? Even if these devices are going to start including screens, I think the ultimate purpose people buy these devices, besides doing some of the fun stuff, is just to be lazy. My mum, who's sighted, has been nagging for quite some time on a way to trigger the Lady A to play her music off of YouTube, just by a trigger command with her voice. Furthermore, a few days ago, I finally received a Google Nest Mini for my mum. However, I wish I could play a playlist with ads off of YouTube Music. We, as in my household, do not pay for YouTube Premium, so having this function would be great. The Nest Mini is interesting to play around with and see what's available in terms of what I can do compared to the Lady A devices. I hope the Amazon Echo devices will get an upgrade soon. These devices are very nice, I do have to say. Plus, I don't think there's a way for Sean to play his beloved Night Manager game on the Google Nest devices, are there?
No.
Anywho, that's enough from me. Hope everyone out there listening is doing wonderful. Thank you, Daisy from Nebraska.
Thank you, Daisy in Nebraska. Appreciate that. Yeah, I must admit, I mean, I think when it comes to the Google Nest, there's a lot of promise there. I mean, especially with what we're seeing with Gemini from, on the Pixel devices or any Android device, frankly.
Is there any... Well, was there an announcement about Gemini coming to the smart speakers, the Google Nest?
I do remember a story about this, that they were saying it would come, but it hasn't happened yet.
I haven't heard anything else about it. Now, the thing that gives me hope is the recent developments with Gemini, of course. They've seemed to have really come out of the gate, Google, with the live video feature, and they just seem far more confident in Gemini's capabilities. So it kind of makes me think, not really a reason why they couldn't push it to the smart speakers. But honestly, yeah, I don't know. And when it comes to playing YouTube videos, it's been so strange. I mean, the Echo shows, for example, there was a point where you could do something like that. Then they turned it off because they got into a little spat with Google, so they couldn't do that. And I thought they sorted it out and you could again, but actually, when it comes to playing playlists and things like that from YouTube, I don't know how actually reliable it is. It does work quite well with the Amazon Fire TV stick. If you've got one of those connected to your TV, you can say to your smart speaker, play, I used to say, I think it was The Office, the US version of The Office, and it would play the audio described version straight away on the TV. That was quite good, but again, not exactly what you're looking for when it comes to playlists on YouTube Music.
So with the Amazon Fire TV stick, do you get the full Lady A experience? Because sometimes you buy these third-party speakers that have the features built in, you don't get everything. Like Sonos, for example, you don't get full. Like, you can't do drop-in, you can't do intercom,
which is
stuff.
the big thing, right? There's the drop-in is the big thing, which is only from Amazon devices. I don't know. I've never tried to drop in on my Amazon Fire TV stick. I don't see why not. I mean, you could get the video there. You can see your security cameras from it. If someone rings your doorbell, it will automatically come up on your Amazon Fire TV stick and show on your TV. But I haven't tried it with drop-in, so honestly, I don't know.
No, I mean, Google does have, I can't remember the name of it. Is it the Google Nest, but it's like a screen version as well? Hub.
Is it the Nest Hub?
Nest Hub.
Google Hubba Hubba? I don't know.
Hubba Bubba, yeah. I call it that. That does have the ability to at least summon videos, I think, from YouTube and also Netflix. They had a partnership going for a while. I don't know if that's still going.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I gave up on devices with the screens quite a while ago now.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, so I can't give you the latest up-to-date information on what is supported and what isn't. You're absolutely right. It was supported at one point. So maybe our listeners can let us know. Anyone who uses the screen version of any of these smart speakers, then let us know what you can watch and how you can use them to watch video.
Thank you, Daisy. Let's get into the inbox. Let's pick out another one. Here we go. Elliot.
Festive greetings, Double Tappers. Just wondered your thoughts on text-to-speech audio description. Now, don't judge me for this, but at the weekend, my partner and I watched Love Actually on Prime Video, and the audio description was TTS. I wasn't sure at the start, but although you could tell it was TTS and the voice was the same as the standard UK voice used on Amazon Fire devices, I actually thought it was okay. There are some great audio describers out there and the occasional not so great, and although on balance I'd still much rather an actual person doing it, if this is the way to get more audio described content out there, I'm willing to accept the TTS. What do you guys think? Elliot, from a sunny but chilly Poole.
Thank you, Elliot. Sean, what's your thoughts? I've got many.
I want to throw you under the bus on this one.
Oh, feel free.
It's difficult because I totally agree with you. There's so many things out there that haven't got an audio descriptive track. And I think, with technology where it is, particularly AI as we're seeing now, if there was a way to generate TTS, AI audio description, that's a positive. That's a plus, right? That's a bonus. But at the same time, I love well-produced, well-narrated, well-scripted AD. It does add something extra. And we've spoken to a few AD voiceover artists, and they do an amazing job, and they're proud of what they do as well. And they spend a lot of time in the production and the mixing of that into the audio and the show itself. So I don't actually know where I sit on this. It's a bit like the book version. Do you want an actual produced audio book, or are you happy with a TTS reading an audio book? Because it wouldn't get produced in the normal way otherwise. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about this. I think it can work. I don't know whether it should work, though.
No, it's interesting because you've specifically said TTS, text to speech there, Elliot. And I think if you just think of it in that sense of that monotone voice with no emotion at all, then I'm not as keen on that. I mean, I get your point. I'd rather have access to something than nothing. I suppose the fear is always if we allow this to creep in, does it take over? And I don't want that. There's always that fear because, look, companies are always looking for ways to cut back, right? So that remember that it's not, audio description is not a guarantee that it's going to go into a movie. It's also not guaranteed who is going to make the audio description. It has to be agreed upon that a company will do it. And if a company comes in to undercut the others who are using humans for narration and writing, and instead they are using humans purely for writing, but they're using AI for narration or using TTS for narration, then I think that gets a little bit concerning, because then we could lose out in the long run. At the end of the day, it does depend on the writing. That's a big part of it.
It does, but then if the technology gets to a point where we can't really tell the difference, then we're just talking about the moral aspect of employment and, giving people work at that point. That's
exactly why I picked up on the point about TTS, because
yes,
you might remember we had the statement from Meta here on the show. They had sent us in a statement following our concerns about Meta AI in the UK. And we were thinking of a way to have that read out, and no one was available to read it for us. And so I used a service from OpenAI to be able to do that. Now, it's an app on the Mac called Voices, and I can literally just paste in the script in it and choose a voice, and it creates the voice. Now, it's not perfect. You do have to check these things, and obviously you have to be careful with pronunciations, and you got to make sure the script, sometimes things have to be spelled phonetically for it to read properly, like any TTS voice. But I felt that was a nice, listenable voice. And if I was listening to a book, I mean, it's interesting, because if you'd asked me this question a year ago, even a year and a half ago, as we have talked about in the show, AI for audiobooks, I'd have said, no way. No way. I'm not the biggest, it's not that I'm not an audiobook fan, it's just I'm not very good at listening to long periods of text without falling
18
asleep.
hours worth, yeah.
Yeah, I just can't do it. But if I am going to listen to something and I'm really engaged by it, the voice is important. Now, I could probably listen to an article, a news article read by that voice, but not a whole book. Now, even now, I don't know if I'd still want it in a whole book, but I'm getting closer to it because the voices are sounding more realistic. And that's where things change. If they can bring emotion in as well, and there's not a huge amount of emotion in audio description, then...
Yeah, is it even needed?
Do you need
emotion?
Much,
I think what it comes down to, going back to the point you made about us using it for the Facebook announcement, because just of the nature of time, and we didn't have time to get anyone to read it out. If that was an hour long, you would soon realize that was AI. You would soon pick up on the repetitiveness of certain words or whatever it is. And I think it becomes annoying there. Short form, absolutely. Maybe the technology will evolve into, where it's random enough that we can't tell a difference. I think that's the key here.
Yeah, absolutely. Elliot, thank you for the question. Also, we did have also a comment as well, I think from Elliot as well, on the subject of ITVX in the UK. The app on Apple TV has been notoriously bad for a long time with voiceover on Apple TV.
Yes.
You could not really access any programs
I'm getting
at
excited. No, you couldn't. Yes.
It's been fixed.
No, it's so funny. I just went on that a few days ago and it still wasn't working for me. I did find a workaround though. If you go to the far right of any category, there's a view all, and that is accessible. It gives you all the programs in a grid view.
Oh, interesting.
But the home screen still wasn't. I'm definitely going to check for an update and test that out.
Best time for it to happen just at the holidays as well, when you're going to be sitting down to watch a box set or something. It's nice to actually see what's in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fantastic. Okay, Peter has been in touch.
Hi, Stephen, Sean and Audible Tabbers. It's Pete in Robin Hood County. Hoping all is well with you. Thank you for all the good shows.
Thank you.
My registration card, as regards my eyesight limitations, I am listed as severe sight loss. I had some good partial sight. I've lost a lot of it, and I've not got a lot left. And my other half, she's registered as partially sighted, so she's got a bit more than me. We're so lucky. Now I'll leave the class war. I can't be bothered to fight it out. Has anyone used Haptic Nav? HAPTICNAV, and it's all one word, and it's in the App Store. They had the developer on Access On with Jonathan Mosen, and he may be a good guy to get on next year's Double Tap to talk about the app. It's quite intuitive, and I must admit, I'm beginning to prefer it instead of having people telling me to turn left, turn right. No, don't hit that door, hit that door. Instead, I can have it in haptic, then hit that door. But seriously, it's a good app. And I suppose it's like the mini guide on your phone, I suppose. But it's good. You can use it with WeWalk and Clue and a few others. Now to a Christmas gift. As soon as you're going to start your gift guide, well, hopefully, get your favourite piece of tech, and I'm going to give you 2 travel books so you can have a free holiday.
Oh.
The first one is called Pole to Pole by Michael Palin, and that's a trip round the Pacific Ring of Fire, starting at Little Diomede and returning full circle to Little Diomede, which is in Alaska. And the second one is Lost Continent by Bill Bryson. And that is Bill Bryson's road trip around small town America. Pole to Pole is read by Michael Palin in this country, and Lost Continent is read by John Chancer in this country. I don't know about any others. I hope you enjoyed the books, and thank you again for all the good shows. Happy holiday season and merry everything. And for people like me who love the winter solstice and Saturnalia, happy Saturnalia. Happy new double tap from Robin Hood County. Bye-bye for now.
Well, I don't know if
Saturnalia to you, Stephen Scott.
And to you, indeed. Bless you. But I will say, I love the music. I don't know if you could hear the music in the background. Clearly,
yes.
Peter was enjoying some nice classical tunage in the background there.
Touch of class. That's just what
Touch
we
of
need
class.
on Double Tap.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you very much. Travel books, I will take that on advisement. I don't do a lot of travelling, but thank you very much.
Do you know something? Those Michael Palin books are brilliant. And
they are, yeah.
Those are the ones that I probably would listen to
Yeah,
more.
that's true. Yeah, it's just the way they're done. They're quite funny as well, right?
Yeah, when I was at the RNIB, they still do, I believe, have a talking books show over there. And that was a common book that used to get played, a very popular book as well.
Very popular bestseller anyway.
Yeah, so, very popular with the RNIB Talking Books Library.
Talking of travelling and navigation, Haptic Nav. I haven't heard of this, have you?
No, haven't heard of that one at all.
It's interesting, though, because so often we talk about, when we talk about devices to help you with mobility, no matter what it may be, we talk about how have you chosen to use give the user feedback, because it's important. Too much information thrown at you through TTS can be overwhelming. A mixture of haptic, or which is the best way. So yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And happy winter solstice to you, Peter. I like those words together. Not when I say them, clearly.
No.
But I do like those words. Okay. Can't find a drum roll, so we're just going to move on.
Are we giving up with that?
I can't find it anymore. It's in there somewhere. It's throwing the whole thing out, so just forget it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're back to normal. It's all
just
right.
Press anything.
Fine.
Cookie Monster.
No, I don't want to do that because then I lose track of my messages here.
Press a button, Stephen Scott.
System.
It's Christmas.
I'm going to press
yourself.
one button, and that is going to play Craig's message.
Hello. This is Craig from Loughton in Essex. This is my first message.
Oh, hello.
So, big fan of the show, but apologies if I ramble or I sound a bit nervous.
Oh, don't be.
I've been blind since the end of 2017. I've only recently built up the courage to start my long cane training. So it was my wife's SA 39 and 12 months birthday on November the 5th. And I organised a trip up to London so that we stayed in a hotel. And then on the actual day of her birthday, we went to see the Mousetrap. Same day as Sight Village. I would love to have gone if it hadn't fell on the same day. And especially would have loved to have met you two, come and shake your hand.
Oh.
But maybe next year. So we got a taxi from the hotel, arrived in Covent Garden and made quite an entrance as I fell forwards out of the cab getting out, and landed in a big pile of blind on the pavement. So that wasn't embarrassing at all.
Pile of blind.
Smooth as butter. So anyway, yeah, it was my first experience really of being out somewhere, well, like Covent Garden with my cane. I was very nervous, terrified, I suppose, really, if I'm honest. I mean, I had my wife with me, but yeah, it was a good experience. Anyway, we got to the theatre. They were lovely on the door, guided us in. I should say my wife is sighted. We waited, and then a lady came over. She was actually the manager, and she brought over the AD set and just explained to me how it worked. So we went in, getting our seats, and she sort of stopped and said, "Oh, hang on, I think you might be able to go in here." And I thought, like, what are you going to do? Put me in a cupboard or something? No, but she actually just gave us the royal box.
Oh,
Oh.
With its own private bathroom,
wow.
as you'd expect. So we literally got to sit on the royal throne. So that was just amazing. The audio description was amazing. Leading up to when the show started, the recording was giving me a description of the actual theatre, the stage, what the characters will be wearing, and then obviously throughout the actual performance, it's absolutely fantastic. I couldn't recommend it more highly, really, and I really enjoyed it. So that was a really good experience. But yeah, the AD, I thought was brilliant. So we went back to the hotel. Rather strange thing happened, actually. We got back to the room and walked in, and instantly I thought, there's a bit of a funny smell in it, and I thought, well, okay. And then my wife said, "That's really weird. I left your jeans at the end of the bed, but they've all been moved and things taken out of the pockets."
Right.
And for some reason there was like KFC boxes on the floor. So some weirdo must have broken into our room. I don't really know what's going on there. I'm only mucking about. So yeah, that's my story. I've got other things about audio description I'd love to talk about, but I've already been rambling too long, so I'll try and send another message in. I love your show. I love everything about it. I love the waffle and all the information that you give us and sharing stories. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Craig. I think how many of us can relate to that? You know, that first time going out, if you like. You know, it's so difficult. And you saying, I was terrified, to be honest. Absolutely, I am so with you. But at the same time, how many of us as well has come back and said, you know what, that was a great experience. You know, being able to take part in something like the theatre, it's amazing. You just got to get over that anxiety, that fear. But yeah, well done. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah, getting me emotional here, Craig. Yes, no, just I think you speak for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I think you speak for a lot of people. A lot of people will be nodding along, listening to that, saying, "That's my experience too." And it takes a lot to say it out loud. You know, you get that catch in the back of your throat when you start talking about it.
Yeah, but more than that, I mean, landing in a pile of blind, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to be the new phrase of the year, isn't it?
Yes, but how many times? I mean, I've had that happen to me a few times, and that's it. I can't do it, and I will turn around and go home.
Yeah,
you know, and just being able to say, you know what, things happen. Let's carry on and see how it goes. It takes a lot. But yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's I'm so glad you got in touch. I'm really glad you got in touch, Craig. And thank you for that message. That means a lot. And don't be a stranger. Come back and tell us all your thoughts and everything else, because that's what it's about. So yeah, come back soon on that one. That was really nice. Okay, let's hear from our old friends over at AT Banter. That's the other Canadian tech podcast, by the way.
Yes.
Other. We'll just park that
the
for
better
a minute.
one.
Don't tell Mr. F. So here's Ryan.
Hi, Stephen and Sean. After listening to Wednesday's chat about Christmas, I wanted to share with you both a song that the AT Banter podcast host did called Christmas Time Is Not For Me.
Oh.
It's on YouTube. Thanks for doing what you do, and happy holidays to you from Ryan at AT Banter.
Okay, well, they've sent this over. Should we listen to it?
This sounds festive. Okay, yes.
This sounds dangerous. Okay, let's have a listen. Let's have a listen.
Man, I hate this time of year. You gotta decorate, you gotta go visit friends, you gotta buy gifts. Boy, I really hate Christmas. A very wise man once said, "Bah, humbug."
I'm dancing. I don't know where this is going.
I really hate this time of year with people faking Christmas cheer with non-stop bells and ho-ho-hoing, and half the time it's effing snowing.
Commercials that tell us all to buy for every girl and every guy. Parking the car near any mall makes me want to holiday murder them all.
Okay.
Will not get me this season. Christmas time is not for me. Christmas time is beyond reason. Christmas time is not for me. Noel is just a buying spree. Christmas time is not for me. No Christmas.
I'm going to guess the guys at AT Banter don't like Christmas. I'm just going to put that out there.
I'm going to listen to their Christmas episode.
Yes, I think that is forcing us all to go and check out that episode. Wow. Thank you, guys. Thank you for sending that
Very
in.
well done. You can't argue with that. I mean, good luck
We did
to
a
you.
song.
Yeah, it's very
Here's
nice.
our song.
Oh, you want us to actually sing rather than AI? That's not going to happen.
Can I just remind people, if you want to know how far we're going to go as far as Christmas music is concerned, that's the best you're going to get, right? That's it. So don't even look for it.
Oh, I didn't get to yeehaw.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeehaw. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, you
Carry on.
did it. Thank you, Ryan, and to all the people at AT Banter. And you know what? A big hello to all the other tech podcasters out there who are still bringing us the news today, still making the shows. So
God bless you, podcasters.
God love
You're
you all.
heroes.
And all the broadcasters around the world who this time of year is not a holiday.
All right,
Broadcasting
calm
never
down.
stops. Apart from us, obviously, we finish
Apart
on
from
Wednesday and then we're off for a couple of weeks. But, other than that, yeah.
But the other proper professional people.
Yeah, the serious people. They're still there. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on to another message. This is from Flor, I believe. I think I've got that right.
Hello, Steve and Sean. This is Flor Lynch from Ireland. I have a cochlear implant since the 26th of January 2022. I lost hearing in left ear on 16th December 2020. It was an overnight sudden sensory neural hearing loss.
Wow.
I had a little hearing in my left ear, had been wearing hearing aids for the last 45 years or more, and this was a sudden loss, and nothing at all was left in my left ear. So the only option, after an MRI scan, which is necessary, was to opt for the cochlear implant. My ear was suitable, left ear and right ear is suitable as well, if I decide to go there. The cochlear implant is much improved version over my hearing aid that I used to have in my left ear, and I can do nearly everything and with it, including Bluetooth to iPhone and Bluetooth to other hearing devices or other hearing instruments, I should say, such as a TV streamer, and including listening to yourselves and my iPhone. So life is good, as the song says, and it doesn't have to be that you are born deaf.
Yeah, thank you for that, Flor. Really appreciate that.
That is so interesting, though, that sudden onset, right? And how often do we say about, when we're talking about accessibility of whatever, hardware, software, whatever it may be, and it's, disability can affect you at any time. And it's just such a reality of life, isn't it? And I think that was also a good point about the, when it comes to cochlear implants, we were talking about the Neuralink and people, possibly not wanting it or wanting it. But either way, it takes a bit of time to get used to something like that and being able to relate to what you're hearing again. And when it comes to vision, people not having sight before, could they cope with having vision restored? And what sort of vision would it be?
I was at the doctor's the other day and we were talking about Neuralink, and the doctor was saying, well, that's great, it gives you vision. And I said, well, yeah, it doesn't really give you vision. It gives you an image.
Yeah.
And that image could be, in its basic sense, almost like a line drawing of the world around you. So you'd have to learn how to adjust to that first. Now, whether or not that can improve over time or not, we're yet to know. But, would you want that over nothing? I mean, again, this is the big decision that individuals have to make for themselves. There is no clear answer on this. There's no one answer that says, if you're blind, therefore you want vision back. Many people don't. Then equally, there's many that do. And that's why, that's why I think that it's important these things are at least discussed and researched. Not everyone's going to go for it, but that's okay.
Well, it's nice to have options, isn't it? And
exactly.
As Flora's shown there, he decided to go for the cochlear implant and it made a difference. So, thanks for the email. Or the voice message, I should say.
Let's move on to, this is Glendon, and discussing more on this topic of sight loss.
Hi, Stephen, Sean, Laura, and all double tappers. Regarding an episode in which we discussed and maybe even debated what we should or should not say to curious folk we bump into as we navigate the world and they ask us what we can or cannot see. In the past, I have gone into great depth showing them what I am able to see and even have given them examples of how I manage. However, I have come to realize that this is just too much information, or TMI as we say in the Western world. Frankly, I am now thinking that any person worth their salt would not go into great depth and tell people everything about their superpowers, especially someone on the street who they don't even know. So my new way is to give them an idea that will appease their sense of curiosity, but have decided that it's not necessary to become obsessive about all of the nitty-gritty details. I'm guessing that most well-adjusted people listening already know this, and that I'm behind the times here, but I just thought I'd put it out there for any newcomer blind folk to consider. My new way of thinking is that giving up our superpowers may cause us to lose an advantage out there, and is probably not a good idea, since this information could be used against us by a small portion of bad actors in society if they wished. I actually have started wearing my beautiful tinted Ray-Bans with prescription tinted bifocal lenses that I used to wear when I had some central vision. They have a nice light clubbing tint, which is really subtle and cool. I'm now wearing them again with great enjoyment. I suppose there is some risk by not looking more blind to sighted people, and should remember throughout my day that I may need to alert people that I am totally blind when necessary. Is it silly of me to do this, I wonder? I'm sure this confuses a lot of people, but I'm thinking to myself, so what? Let them be confused, because that gives me an edge, smiley, and it's not wise to give up one's edge. I'd be interested in hearing any blind or sighted opinions on this. One thing for sure is, you wouldn't catch me wearing one of those checkered eye patches. Lol. Best, Glendon.
And again, it's about choice, Glendon, right? I mean, checkered eye symbol may not be for you, but it might suit someone else. I think it depends on where you are on the, in quotes, journey, right? Because we're all at different stages. There's points where I would never have been seen dead with a white cane. Now I can't leave the house without it. I would probably say I do embrace it a little bit more than I did, for sure. I think it's interesting, though. I often think about my neighbours in this situation. So, I've had friends around who, will see me in the house and see me navigate around my house fine, right? Run upstairs, come back down the stairs, go into the kitchen, get whatever, go back upstairs. And I often get from people, oh, I thought you had no vision. And I have to then stop and explain this whole thing. Like, well, yes, but bear in mind I'm in a very familiar location. As soon as I step over the front door, different story.
Yeah.
Even in my street, because you can't walk with confidence knowing that, the street is going to be exactly as it was yesterday. There could be things, could be cars parked, a lot of kids around here, right? They leave their toys everywhere. So, you know, you find bikes lying in the middle of the street or whatever, you know, and that happens. So you can't walk with the same confidence you would in your own home. Now, that's not to say that you can't trip up in your own home either. And, you know, you can walk confidently and forget that you moved a table. And I've done this where I've taken a table and pretty much tossed it across the room.
But the point is, why does it matter? Of course, you're absolutely right.
It's all in here, though, Sean. It's all in your head. You know, it's all in our heads swimming around, you know, trying to almost justify ourselves constantly. That's what it always comes back to.
Absolutely right. I remember playing it, blinding it up a little bit more. Back in the days of RP where I could actually read a newspaper headline, not the actual paper itself, but the big headline. But of course, if I do that, then people automatically assume, well, you're not blind. Well, I guess I'm not, but I am, as in I'm going to have troubles trying to find, walk to the chair or walk wherever. So it's more complicated than that. And at the end of the day, you do just get sick of trying to explain it to people. I always just say blind. I mean, even before I lost pretty much everything, I still would just say blind because it's simpler and people understand that. If you don't say blind, people just don't think you need any assistance.
Well, I saw a great comment from someone actually who was being criticized for calling themselves blind, that happened from within our community. This happens a lot.
Yeah.
More than you might think. And what was interesting was the person came back, and I didn't really think about this at all. They said, I am registered blind. And in the States, Canada, I guess it would be legally blind is the term.
Yeah.
But registered blind is what we call it in the UK. Call it legally blind, whatever you call it. That's the actual classification of your condition. So you are blind, right? I mean, I have had that on my certificate since I was 14 years old.
Me too, yeah.
Now, I would not have called myself blind in those days. Never have used that word because I wasn't blind. I had some usable vision.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
But the point is that that was the name. But now I'm more. It's funny, right? I was called blind back then more than I am now by people who question whether or not I'm blind enough to classify as blind. And I'm like, why are we even having that discussion? This is just, to me, this is like the whole language thing. It's such a waste of time. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't change anything.
No, you're right. And outside of the community,
I'm talking inside. Yeah,
you're either blind or sighted. That's as simple as it gets. Inside the community, there is more of a reason to actually describe what level of sight you may have to someone, because we understand what sort of assistance and differences that needs. If I've got someone coming over, someone who's blind, but it's got a bit of central vision maybe, then I know I don't have to worry about, you don't need guiding here or there or around certain things. So
was that phrase in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king?
Well,
and there's some truth to that because, look, I've been in many days out with blind people. The one person who's got the most vision or has some vision is in charge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. But outside of our community, really sort of the level of vision doesn't really make sense to people. They can't really understand it. Yeah. So, and you're right.
But that's an interesting point, though, and it's an important point. To the general public, it's lights on or lights off. Yeah. And you do sometimes feel like they're trying to
the Karate Kid.
They're trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out which side of it you're on. As soon as you say to someone, "Oh yeah, I can see that," suddenly that's it. You've got full vision again. You're 20/20.
Exactly. The point.
They don't understand the gradient of it.
And, do you tell people you can't see, and therefore sometimes do you feel at risk by letting people know you can't see? I mean, it's a very good point as well.
That's a really interesting point, right? On a dark night, and, someone's going, I mean, it's difficult though when, I suppose this is the problem for me, and I guess it was the same for you, Glendon, and certainly for you, Sean. There was a time when you might have told someone in a store you were blind, but, a group of guys are walking past, suddenly you're putting your cane in your bag and, walking up the street best you can
absolutely.
To avoid it. Of course, can't do that now.
I still get slightly nervous if I'm walking past a group of, I'll say youths, but it doesn't even necessarily have to be youths. So just a bit of a rowdy crowd outside of a shop or something. I still get a little bit nervous. And, as a 50-year-old fella, you think, oh, come on now. It makes you feel terrible, but
no.
It's the reality of life.
Well, the problem is how do you get out of a situation like that? That's the thing. It's like, suddenly
they're very rare, right? Very rarely it happens. In fact, I was mugged once And it was because the muggers thought I was drunk rather than blind. These were pre-white cane days. And it actually worked in my favour because I wasn't drunk. So I was able to sort it out, let's put it that way. So I wasn't mugged. But it's such a strange situation. I've actually decided to stop being, I'm going to use a term now, so cover your ears, such a smart ass when it comes to certain questions. Someone said to me the other day when I was walking the dog, oh, isn't it dark this morning? And of course, straight away I came back with, oh, well, I don't know, it's always dark. I thought, you know what, that is such a, why are you saying that? It's just so much easier and nicer just to say, yeah, it is, isn't it? You know, why am I actually drawing attention to it and making that person feel uncomfortable? I don't do it very often, but I'm going to try and stop myself from doing that because that's not a good thing.
There can be a lot of nasty people in our community who say nasty things to people. And these are often people I find who are the ones who are the first to stand up and shout for, we want more rights, we want this, we want that. But they don't want to give anything. They don't want to give anything. You know, and I'm sorry, we don't live in this world by ourselves. We're not going to build a blind island. I hope not. Anyway, I'm
Blind Island, that'd be a great TV show.
Oh, wouldn't it be
Sign
terrible?
me up.
Yeah, a pile of blind on the floor. But I mean, we've got to live in a world with other people, and you know, the best way for us to get anywhere further forward in our world, whether it's whether an app is inaccessible or is to just talk to people, be human to other people.
Yeah.
You want to be treated like a human being? Well, you got to treat someone else the same. You know, I have to tell you, this year, I have had a lot of anti-sighted talk, and I don't like it. I really don't like it, and I feel there's no one challenging it enough. I hear people talk about, boycotting organizations that have the word sight or vision in them. That's anti-sighted to me, and I don't see the value in that. No. I don't see what the point is or what the reasoning is behind it. How does that help our cause? It's the same as the language issue where people say you can't say this and you mustn't say that and don't call me visually impaired. Oh, get over yourselves. Just stop that because you're not helping anybody. You're certainly not helping yourself. What you're doing for yourself is you're making sure no one's going to talk to you. Because all we're doing is putting more barriers in front of people.
Yeah,
people are
walls,
already terrified to speak to us. They're terrified to say words to us. And look, if you think this is all nonsense and it's all just it's all in a podcast or it's all just over here in a blog. No, it's not. It's in real world. I get it a lot nowadays where people say, oh, I said the word blind, sorry.
Yeah.
Or I can't say this word. Or is it okay to use the word disabled? Is that okay to say? I'm like, just calm down.
It's fine.
Just talk to me. I'm a
Did
human
you watch
being.
that?
Just
Did
talk
you see
to me.
that on TV the other night? Was the thing traditionally has always been that thing that people go, "Oh, sorry, I didn't use it." Go, "Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about that." But now it's changed. It does feel like it's like a minefield for some people talking to us, and that's why sometimes you'll get people that totally ignore you. They just don't know what to say.
We've really. I have one hope I have for 2025 is we stop all this nonsense.
Yeah.
Let's just start treating people like human beings. If we start there, I guarantee we'll get a lot further forward. Because look, if you want me to prove this, just go watch the news, right? Endless division by identity and all this culture war nonsense, it's got to stop because it is just not helping any of us. And that's across the board. That's not just a blind thing. That's across the board. As soon as you put your identity first, you're putting yourself in a box and you're saying, therefore, there's an other. And I've seen it in the blind community. I've seen it since I was a child. This is nothing new. I was talking about this actually probably before anybody else even picked up on it. Certainly before it became a culture war. I was talking about this on air years ago, decades ago. I was talking about this when I would talk about the simple one that we've talked about before, which is where blind people will not engage with partially sighted people, or if they do, it's in a negative way. And I was talking about that decades ago because that is a real problem. And again, it's that othering that goes on. I am blind, you are this. Look, we're all people. We've all got problems, we've all got challenges.
Yeah.
I remember talking to someone who said, she was 83. She said, I am blind and my knees don't work very well. And she said, you know what annoys me most of all? My knees not working. I don't care about the blindness. I can barely stand up.
Yeah.
It's like we all have problems, but the problems are all relative to whatever the situation is we're in. So, for 2025, for goodness sake, can we all just start treating each other as human beings? stop seeing each other as some label.
Wow, can we get Christmassy again now?
I don't know, because Greg from Pennsylvania is up next,
no.
so who knows?
Hello, Tappers. Lindy in Australia asked about marking food in a chest freezer, and the sighted partner wants to use colour labels.
Oh, yeah.
Add a colour identifier to the mix, and you have a simple solution. Pennsylvania gave me a Colorino colour identifier as part of their standard gift bag for graduating from blind rehab, and I think it's available from Vision Australia. I use a discontinued barcode reader called the ID Mate for this task, but if Lindy is up to a device that runs Be My Eyes, Be My AI can handle this task wonderfully. Greg in Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Greg. Brilliant advice for Lindy.
I think we actually mentioned Greg from Pennsylvania when we were answering that question originally.
I was talking about the ID Mate, remember?
About the ID Mate, yeah, and Greg was a great fan of the ID Mate. Yeah, that was very good. Thank you.
Leander's been back in touch.
Hi, Stephen and Sean. It's Leander. Thanks again for another wonderful show. Really interesting topics. I totally agree that there should be some national centres for the blind to learn different things. Years ago, there used to be rehab centres, so I'm told by friends who lost the sight later in life, but they all sadly got shut down due to funding, I believe. And also, when you're talking about being born blind and grieving for it, I don't think you do. But even though it's a completely different thing, like you said, Sean and Stephen, being born blind to going blind later in life. I was born blind, and there are things that you wish you could do if you could see. So I think that's, the way that that's sort of looked at, if that makes sense. But I don't think you grieve it because you've never had it. But there are, as I say, things that you wish you could do, independently, I suppose. Well, there is, yeah. Anyway, just had to come on, Sean, and say I love your talk about when you select your cards, card lucky dip. That made me smile. And also, Stephen, I hope that the computer keeps working with the bump-ons.
Thank you.
Not much else to say, really, as I'm not an Android user, but I did find it interesting where you talked about the updates to Android, because I've got friends that are. So thanks once again for a wonderful show.
Thank you, Leander. Really appreciate your comments. And, it has been quite a year, hasn't it, in terms of feedback. Our show increased. I think, I'm trying to remember which year we actually started doing this daily. It wasn't last year, was it? I can't even remember.
It feels like forever, Steve.
It feels like we've always been daily. This started off as a weekly show.
That's unbelievable now looking back.
I know. How could you ever do... I know people do it, but I don't know how they do it. Especially with the amount of feedback and conversation that we have. There's absolutely no way. If this show was once a week, it would be 10 hours long.
Yeah.
And we could honestly sit here for another 5 hours and do another 5 shows easily because of the amount of content that you guys provide. And I don't just mean messages. I mean, obviously that's a huge component of it, but the demos and the things you send in, the materials, everything, it means so much to us. It really is. And, I'm hugely thankful to all of you for that.
Yeah. It's the reason why we continue on. It's purely down to
the reason why we're here, to be
listeners.
perfectly honest. If it wasn't for you guys, and I know a lot of people say that, if it wasn't for you guys, it genuinely is the case that Double Tap is here because of you.
Yes. We've spoken to Mr. F. He's made that perfectly clear.
He's made that plainly clear.
Yes.
As soon as you guys go, we're out. I mean, that's it. We're gone. But no, I want to just take this moment to say thank you to all of you for all your continued listening, to all of you new listeners as well, because I know there's lots of you who've joined in. Some of you have asked as well, who is this Mr. F? I got an email the other day. Who is Mr. F? He's the boss. He's the boss man. He's the man who, our whiskey-soaked rag of a man,
yes,
who is,
in charge.
In charge.
Yeah. Exactly right. That's all you need to know.
So you need to know any more you need to know than that. He's on holiday right now, so I can say that without fear of retribution.
Already?
Yes, yeah. He was away last week.
Wow. It's all right for the big bosses, isn't it? That's fine. We're here still soldiering away.
I know. I asked him for a Christmas message, but we couldn't sober him up in time. So
yeah, fair enough.
So be it.
God bless you, Mr. F. Stephen said that, not me, sir. Oh, dear.
But no, boss man, that's Mr. F, and a huge thank you to him as well for all his support, which has been, frankly, a troubling year for all of us in the broadcasting world. So, we're still here. We're still doing this thing. It still blows my mind every day that we do this and that, you listen in the numbers that you do all around the world as you do. We know, and, some people will say, we have listeners here, there and everywhere, and there's no evidence of it, you just, because I often, when people would tell me, oh yeah, you're popular in this country, you go, yeah, that could be a VPN for all I know, but actually, we get emails from all over the world. People listen from all over the world, and it means so much that you get in touch and give us your time. And as I say, a huge thank you to Mr. F, but everyone who's supported us at AMI Audio, and of course more broadly at AMI as well. Thank you to the wonderful AMI family for everything that they do for us in allowing us to be here and roll on 2025. I think it's going to be a busy year. We kick it off on the 6th of January here on Double Tap. That's when we're back from holiday. We'll be here tomorrow. We're here on Wednesday as well.
On Wednesday as well.
Just letting you know, from the 6th of January, we'll be here with our special week of programming talking about Braille at 200, and a lot of conversation to be had around that. So that coming up from the 6th of January. Tomorrow, Michael Babcock is here. He's joining us to talk all about 2024. Brian Comiskey's here as well from CES to talk about the big event next year, which again is going to kick off a whole host of conversations with interesting tech companies. And then on Wednesday, Christmas Day, we'll be here with our special episode featuring the stars of AMI, which do not include us. Well, we were there.
We are
but,
there,
we'll be,
yeah.
They're the stars. We're just, the
we're just pressing the button
sandwich
to hit record.
Pretty much.
It.
Yeah. Let them go. So that's it from us today. Thank you for all your emails, and we'll be back into the inbox in January. So, wow, goodness me.
2025.
Sean, I'll catch you tomorrow with Michael.
Definitely. Thank you. Bye-bye.